Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin H. In this video, we are going to take this 24-foot vac tank and we're going to put it on this Speccast 8600. Let's get to work. Okay, this truck right here had this bed on it. So this bed was on this frame, and I have a video showing how to make this conversion. If you want to watch it, it's here on YouTube. And so I wanted to repurpose this truck now that I took the bed off of it, and these vac tanks fit perfectly on here without really any muss or fuss. Just, it works really well. So you have a couple of options on how to attach this once you put this together. But before we get to that, let me show you one thing. If you are a beginner and you want to make your own truck, this is how the vac tank actually comes. It comes with this end cap, and why is it hollow in there? To allow all the resin from 3D printing to, it needed an escape hatch, and there it is. So this, you might have to sand this hole out, but this end cap goes in there, and then you can glue it in place, or if it's snug enough, you can just leave it. And as soon as you get that done, you can paint this thing and get it ready for your truck. Okay, back to this truck. So we have some choices here on how we're going to attach this. One, you can take spacers and put some shims in between these different holes where the axles are attached. So these screws hold all these axles in place. And that hole right there, there was a screw here and a screw right there that held the original bed on. So let's take a look at this, and you can see that there is space. I mean, it doesn't set flat at all, which is why you would put some shims in there to make this all flat. And that's how we're going to attach this one. One other thing I like to do is cut the end of this off, like right in front of this hole, and I'll show you why I like to get rid of that. Is because you can see it right there. That's the only reason I would get rid of that, just so you don't see that spot. If it doesn't bother you, can always leave it. And then you can always also move this back to have a little more gap between the back of the cab and the tank. That's personal preference, entirely up to you. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some spacers. I'm going to glue them in place in between these spots, and then we will mount the tank. Okay, I have my shims put in. These are just scraps of styrene that I cut down. I keep random stuff around the shop just for this purpose. You never know what you might need when you need a little shim. So here is the size of the styrene I'm using, and it is just about flush with the tops of those screws. I ended up cutting off the back. You can see it's much shorter, and then put a couple shims there. Now, the back of this where I'm pointing is lower than here. There's a little transition where this dips down. So I had to stack two of these pieces of plastic together to make a spacer there. Now we'll test fit this to see if we need another spacer. And the front is looking very good. It looks like there's a little gap right there that I need to put another spacer on top of this. So let's get another piece of scrap plastic and see if this will be acceptable. And it looks like that will work just fine. Perfect. I'll cut that down, and then we can move forward. To cover these up, I'm going to use my paint pen. Granted, we're not going to see the tops of this, but I'm more concerned about seeing the backs and the sides. And we'll cut that bare metal, cover that up. There. Now we won't see the white from the sides. After that, we're ready to mount this, and the truck is basically finished. I'm going to let that dry, and we will come back and add some detail. Okay, the tank is on, it's dried. Now let's add some detail. I'm using these two paint pens. This red one, I don't even know where I bought this. I think a discount store. It's got a pretty fine tip. You can actually, once you get the paint warmed up, you can kind of touch the end of that light where that light goes, and they're round for a purpose, and they're kind of concave. That way you can fill it up with paint and it'll hold its, the paint will stay in one place. About the only problem is occasionally you might get an air bubble in there, and as that dries and pops, you might see a green circle in the middle where that air bubble was, not allowing the paint to get into the bottom of that light. Long story short, this one here, you can't use on those. So normally I would use a toothpick, but I can't seem to, I guess I'm out of toothpicks here in the lab. So I'm using the head of this pin, the straight pin there. And I'm just barely touching that light, just like I did with the red. So I'm putting some paint on the end of that pin and then touching this center, just like that. And that's all there is to adding paint. Now, one little thing on this particular truck that is wrong is I've got broken mud flaps. So I'm gonna repair that right quick. And what I've done is I folded some electrical tape on itself. I'm gonna cut it and leave a little bit of the sticky part. So there you can see I've just folded it on itself. There's a sticky part which I'm going to put on the leftover mud flap. I'm going to cut that in half, just like so, and then use my tweezers to apply it. So just like so. Let me see if we can get that in there. Like that. Hold it there, and away we go. Ta-da! And then we'll do the other one real quick, and there we have mud flaps. Those are a little long, so guess what? If they're too long, you can always make them shorter. So we'll just cut that right about there. And then, to kind of finish that off, I'm going to put just a tiny touch of glue there so these things don't come off. And now those mud flaps will not come off. And they both are just a little off kilter. We'll straighten them up. And there we go. That's how you mount a 24-foot vac tank on a IH 8600. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.